In this video, we're going to be ranking every single weapon inside Warzone from best to worst using this tier list. If you do enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to try to reach our goal of 50k. And this is going to be after the Season 4 update. We also got some patch notes earlier today, so you can check that video out at the end of this one if you want to see what's changed with the NZ41 and the UGM8. But we're going to fire through these guns very quickly. I'm just going to put them in the list where they need to go. I don't want to give too much of an explanation because there's a lot of weapons to get through. I also quickly just want to mention that RPGs or rocket launchers, whatever you want to call them, launchers in general, have had a significant enough buff to make them top tier upper in my opinion. Very good secondary options. On top of that, the crossbows as well, both the Shadow Hunter as well as the standard crossbow from Modern Warfare had really good buffs as well. So they are all really viable guns. They're just not on this list because they're very similar. So they're all kind of very solid guns if you do want to try them out as a secondary option. So Cold War AK, in my opinion, even though it's got all these nerfs, in my opinion, I still think it's top tier upper. You can still use it, it's just hard recoil. Modern Warfare AK is top tier lower, not as good as the Cold War AK still, in my opinion. AMAX is just kind of top tier lower now. The damage on this gun, or the TTK on this gun, is not great anymore. AN94, in my opinion, is top tier upper. It's very easy to use, probably one of the fastest TTK guns in the game at the moment, if you actually check out our TTK video from the Season 4 update. ASVAL, in my opinion, top tier upper if you're playing solos, especially on the new Fortune's Keep map. If you want to run a sniper, solid gun, definitely usable. AUG, burst fire AUG actually got a slight buff with the Season 4 update. It was either the AUG or the M16. One of them got a buff, but they're both kind of in that top tier lower section. When it comes to the FAL, it's semi-automatic, so it's kind of usable. Some people do think this gun's very, very good, but because it is semi-auto, not a lot of people are actually going to use this weapon. In my opinion, the Fara, I do think it's actually a meta gun, especially for Cold War weapons. If you want to try out something, the Fara is probably the way to go. FFAR, even though it got a slight kind of upgrade with the most recent update for Season 4, probably still not going to be all that usable. You probably won't see too many people running this weapon other than a video. FR556 is basically trash. Grau, definitely a kind of top tier upper in my opinion. I don't think it's meta, but I definitely think it's a solid gun, so you could definitely give that a go if you want to have something Modern Warfare related. Groza, in my opinion, is top tier lower. Full auto can maybe run as a sniper support. But again, you're not really going to see most people running this weapon. Kilo, in my opinion, is top tier lower as well. There's a lot of better weapons with lower recoil than the Kilo now. Krig, again, top tier lower. There's a lot of better weapons with lower recoil, even though it's easy to use, which is kind of the main meta at the moment. The TTKs and the fact that they both have a third damage drop off is not so great. M13 is one of those weapons where, again, it could be top tier upper. It's got that kind of faster TTK overall and that longer damage drop off point, so it is slightly better than these two. M16 again, or the M13, this is the M16, sorry. This actually got that slight buff to the weapon. It's still top tier lower, still a burst fire gun. No one's really going to use those unless it's something like the UGM8, which is absolutely insanely broken, which has now been nerfed. M4A1, definitely solid meta weapon right now. People are actually sleeping on the M4 in my opinion. I'm not just saying that because Modern Warfare guns are cool and people like to talk about Modern Warfare guns like they're the best right now, but I do think the M4 is the meta in this game, and it's a slept on meta as well. Odin, top tier lower, just harder to use. No one really wants to use this gun because it fires really slow. QBZ, top tier lower as well. It's kind of one of those guns where the TTK isn't so great anymore. It's okay, but the recoil is not as easy to control as some of the other weapons. Ram 7, top tier upper, definitely a solid gun. Recoil is a bit to the left. People don't really like that. So obviously it's top tier upper, but it's still a pretty solid gun. Scar, mag capacity is too small, so it's top tier lower. XM4, in my opinion, could be meta, to be honest. It's still kind of up there. I would put it in meta for now if you want to try out a Cold War weapon, so it's actually not too bad. Cold War MP5, a lot of people are actually running this right now. I don't really know why though, because TTKs are not like insane or anything with this gun, but it's still a solid SMG to use, so top tier upper. P90 is usable but ain't great, to be honest. Bison, it can be top tier lower in my opinion. Is a little bit easier to use, low recoil, that kind of good stuff. ISO, top tier lower as well. Easy to use, but ain't a great SMG. MP7, kind of in that in between of top tier upper and top tier lower. I will admit that, but I do think it's top tier lower. The Vanguard SMG just kind of obliterate anything else. Striker's trash, let's be honest. TTKs are bad with this gun, like really, really bad. Fennec's good. The only issue with it is the mag capacity lets it down a bit, but if you're playing solos, again, it's a pretty good TTK on that gun. MP5, if you want to run a Modern Warfare SMG, this is the only one you can use. Uzi's lower. Modern Warfare AUG is lower as well. DMR is just kind of like in that usable stage where you could try it if you really want to, but no one's really going to try it. The Type 99 or whatever this is called, not so great. KSP's trash as well. Milano's pretty decent. Top tier lower as well, I would say. Maybe top tier upper if you want to run it as a kind of sniper support hybrid kind of weapon. I'll put it up here just because it's super low recoil. LC10 top tier lower. TTKs are insanely slow with this gun. PPSH from Cold War, it's top tier lower, kind of the higher end of that though. Mac 10 definitely top tier upper now with the recent buff in my opinion. Bullfrog top tier lower just because it's easy to use. AK-74U kind of top tier lower as well, just moves really slow. Origin shotgun, it's spammable, which is good, obviously, but again, it's going to be top tier lower. Street Sweeper, probably one of the better shotguns in the game. I would personally put this in top tier upper. It is actually still a really good gun overall. Gallo shotgun, I would put it in top tier lower. Is not quite as spammable as the Street Sweeper. Howard shotgun is kind of like usable slash trash. I'll put it in usable because it's not that bad. R90 shotgun is top tier lower. Model shotgun is trash. VLK Rogue is top tier lower. Jack 12 is top tier upper, very similar to Street Sweeper. 720 or 7... I can't remember what this is called, but it's trash anyway. M60 LMG's trash. RPD's top tier lower. Stoner's top tier lower. Hoger's trash. This one's trash. This is the Type something from Modern Cold War or Modern Warfare. I can't remember which one. SA87, it's kind of usable, but it's not great. I wouldn't really recommend it. PKM, definitely, in my opinion, not the best LMG in the game by any means, but it's definitely in top tier upper if you do want to give it a go. TTKs are pretty decent. M91, very slept on weapon as well. Actually better in my opinion than the PKM. Very, very slept on, similar to the M4 in my opinion. Recoil pattern is very similar as well. So overall, very solid gun. Bruin is top tier upper as well. Finn, top tier lower, depends on how you build it. Tundra, it's good for bullet velocity, you know, that good stuff, but there's better aggressive snipers now. Then we've got the M82 sniper. All the kind of semi-automatic snipers are just not great. This one's kind of usable because it's got better bullet velocity. Pellington, in my opinion, is one of the meta snipers in this game. Mark my words, this is one of the better snipers. AX50, in my opinion, is top tier upper right now. A lot of people are using this as kind of like a more aggressive sniper build. Dragunov is trash. Rytech is trash. HDR can be top tier upper as well. Definitely a solid sniper. I do think there's some snipers that are a little bit better for longer range, but I could put it in meta as well, to be honest, because one shot headshot. 1911 is kind of trash. Magnums are trash. Diamati pistols, in the kind of terms of pistols, definitely top tier upper still. R1 Shadowhunter crossbow, I actually forgot I should put the crossbows in here, but they are actually, in my opinion, possibly top tier upper because you actually got that one shot potential with these, and the bullet velocity is being buffed, so overall definitely a top tier upper weapon. If you do like one shot weapons, that is kind of a bit of a niche, but definitely top tier upper still. M19s, kind of cool, not so great though. Renettis, I wouldn't really use them over the Diamati pistols personally. You're kind of wasting an attachment on the burst mod as well. X16 trash. The snake shots are very bad right now. Cyclops, again, top tier upper if you do want to try them. Got good TTKs overall, very easy to use. Movement just a bit too slow. Deagles are bad, 1911s are bad, SKS is bad. Crossbow, again, top tier upper, very solid gun. EBR is bad. Carbine Mark II, carbine bad. Carnite 8K from Modern Warfare, definitely a meta weapon once again. Very aggressive sniper, very solid gun. We've got the SPR, in my opinion, it's kind of like that place where it's kind of could be top tier upper, but also top tier lower as well. I'll put it in top tier upper because it is a solid aggressive sniper, but it isn't as good as some of the other options. Swiss, again, top tier upper. I don't think it's going to be the meta anymore, but you can still definitely use it and do pretty well. The ZRG is definitely a meta sniper right now. It's the best bullet velocity, best one-shot headshot potential, pretty much the best long-range sniper in the game right now. The Carve, or whatever it's called, usable, not great though. I wouldn't really recommend it over the AUG or the M16. AMP, again, it's kind of in that top tier upper slash top tier lower section, in my opinion. C58 got a slight buff actually with the recent updates, so it's definitely top tier upper, not exactly one of the better weapons though. Then we've got the MG from Cold War. top tier lower. I've tried it out actually for a video, and then I'll scrap the video because it wasn't very good, so definitely top tier lower. The nail gun, in my opinion, is usable. It's just that the mag capacity is too small. EM2, top tier lower. Tech 9 is kind of usable. I mean, you're wasting an attachment just to get it fully auto. The OTS is definitely top tier upper. Not the best SMG in the game, but if you need a Cold War one, probably the best option. CX9, top tier upper, definitely a solid gun for TTK once again as well. The Grav is, in my opinion, is usable. Ironhide shotgun is trash. Marshals are trash. The RAL is definitely top tier lower. Then we've got the 3-line rifle. The 3-line rifle is definitely, in my opinion, in kind of like that top tier upper section. In terms of sniper rifles, definitely a solid gun. Grenko rifles, trash. AS44 is absolutely meta as a sniper support right now. Completely broken gun in terms of TTKs. Automaton, again, meta weapon for sure. Super low recoil gun, very easy to use. Bar, I do still think this gun is actually kind of meta, to be fair, but I'll actually put it in top tier upper because I do still think some of the weapons up here are actually slightly better in my opinion. But it's definitely a very good gun. It's kind of one of the ones where it's in between. I'll actually put it in meta for now, let's be honest. Then we've got the Bren, top tier lower for the Bren at the moment. TTKs are not so good. Itra Burst, top tier lower as well. It's actually a good burst weapon. We've got another shotgun here, which isn't so great. Cooper Carbine is definitely meta at the moment. Super low recoil, very easy to use gun. Then we've got the double barrel shotgun. I mean, it's not so great unless you run it in a Kimbo. And even then, it's still not so great. But I mean, if you want to run in a Kimbo weapon, then it is, I suppose, decent. Top tier lower for the DP27. The marksman rifles from Vanguard are pretty much just usable at the moment, especially since they use sniper ammo. Then we've got the Gracie auto shotgun, definitely top tier lower, one of the better shotguns in the game in my opinion. Then we've got the Vanguard Car 98K, which is absolutely probably the best aggressive sniper in the game at the moment. You cannot go wrong with the Vanguard car. If you want to check out the build, you can check out our sniper video. I'll leave a link at the end of this one. Then we've got I think this is the M1 Grand, again top tier lower. MG from Vanguard, again top tier lower. MP40, definitely a meta SMG by far and away, so I'll put that up here. Super low recoil as well. NZ41, even though it got nerfed, I still think is a meta assault rifle at the moment. Very easy to use. The Owen gun, still very usable. I do think it's top tier upper, but I don't think it's a meta SMG no longer. PPSH, again top tier upper. This is the Vanguard one. And if you build it for that hipfire build, it's still pretty solid. Revolving shotgun is usable. Sten for that movement build is actually one of the fastest moving guns still in the game. So I definitely still think it's in top tier upper. I don't think it's quite as good as some of the SMGs that are up here though. STG, definitely a meta assault rifle still. Super easy to use. Very good gun. I mean, it speaks for itself really, let's be honest. Then we've got another kind of one of those marksman rifles from Vanguard. Again, it's going to be in that usable section. I mean, with these kind of guns, it's kind of hard to say if it's usable or trash because you are using sniper ammo, but it's kind of getting buffed slightly with bullet velocity and extra damage and all those things where they could become actually kind of a sniper replacement that fires a little bit quicker. But we'll need to wait and see over time. Not a lot of people are touching these at the moment, so you can't really talk too much about them. The Tommy gun, top tier lower in my opinion, not a good SMG. Type 11 is actually really good. I made a gameplay video about this. I do think it's top tier upper. I don't think it's a meta LMG by any means because it does take a little bit of time to kill, but it's definitely super easy to use. So if you want something slightly different to the UGM8, it's definitely a very solid top tier upper weapon. It could be in meta in my opinion if you build it correctly. I've actually got a gameplay video for that as well. Then we've got the final Vanguard Sniper, which in my opinion is top tier lower. I mean, it could be top tier upper as well. It's definitely a solid sniper overall. Type 11 is still the fastest TTK SMG in the game, so we have to put it in meta, even though the build might not be ideal for most people. If you're running solos or whatever, it's still a solid gun. Then we have the Volk, definitely a meta gun, especially as a sniper support. I actually think it's probably the second best after the AS44. So if you do want to try out a sniper support weapon, the Volk is absolutely a no-brainer. It's super low recoil and easier to use in the AS44, so it's going to be a kind of trade-off on whether you want fast TTK, you go for the AS44. If you want something a bit easier to use, then you go for the Volk. So both are very solid. You've got the Clouser, which in my opinion is definitely a solid pistol. I do think is actually top tier upper. It actually kills really quickly. The machine pistol, if you run it in a Kimbo, is actually very solid as well. So top tier upper too. The Rat, again, fires really quickly too, so definitely top tier upper there. Then we've got the snake shots from Vanguard, which are actually very, very viable. These are the top break pistols, but if you run them in akimbo as the kind of shotgun build, they're actually probably one of the best secondary options in the game right now. The 1911 from Vanguard is actually a solid gun, to be honest, if you run it in akimbo with the full auto barrel. Then we've got the Lapa, which in my opinion is now just top tier lower. The KGM40 is definitely top tier upper now in my opinion. It's super low recoil, very easy to use. I mean, it's going to be one of the easy guns to use in the game. Better than the Kilo and better than the Krig in my opinion. It's also better than the Grau in my opinion as well. So if you want a super low recoil option that just does everything, then the KGM40 is that gun for you. Well gun in my opinion is definitely still a top tier upper SMG. I don't think it's one of the meta SMGs right now, but definitely you can still do extremely well with it. You see a lot of people using it, especially off ground loot. The Whitley Lmg in my opinion is kind of top tier lower slash top tier upper. The recoil is just a bit harder to manage than some of the other LMGs, but the TTKs are absolutely insane with this gun. The Armageddon is definitely a meta SMG right now. Super solid SMG, kind of does it all. Super low recoil, good TTKs. You could use it in kind of that medium range as well. Overall, just a very solid gun, good sniper support. Vargo, definitely a meta assault rifle at the moment. They actually buffed this gun recently, so if you do want to use a Cold War gun, the Vargo is probably the best in my opinion. Then we've got the new kind of marksman rifle that they added in with kind of the season 3 update. Again, it's going to sit in that usable category. Nikita AVT, definitely a good sniper support as well. I do think it's actually one of the meta ones. It actually has a faster fire rate than the Volk and the AS44, so if you want to have a faster fire rate, kind of a middle of the road TTK, then pretty solid. Then we've got the Blixen, which is by far and away the best SMG in the game in my opinion right now. So the Blixen is definitely the best SMG to use hands down. Then we've got the UGM8, which got a slight nerf with today's update, but definitely still a solid long range option. Make sure you use it in full auto now though, because I do think the burst fire actually got nerfed a bit more than the full auto did. So definitely still a meta gun. Then we've got the UGR, which I do think is kind of like that top tier upper weapon, but again, it's kind of a bit niche as well. It's got semi-decent TTKs, and if you do like using that kind of Dragon's Breath aspect of the gun, then it's actually not too bad, but again, it's not something I think that most people will use. And then we've got the Macro, which is absolutely a meta SMG right now. Single or akimbo, this gun absolutely deletes at the moment. It's the new SMG, so you know it's going to be completely meta. Definitely a solid gun. So there we have it. I've ranked every single gun in this game. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe, as it takes time to make videos like this and put together the tier list. And thank you very much for watching.